90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair. You're listening to The Morning Buzz. I'm Nicole Passero, and joined with us this morning, we have Catherine Gray, the producer and executive producer, along with Vicky Pasche and Charisse Pasche, the founders of the company Dapper Boy, and we will be discussing the new film, Show Her the Money.
Yeah.
So welcome to WMSC.
Thank you. Stoked to be here. Thank you.
Glad to be here. Thank you, Nicole.
Of course, we are excited to hear all about the film and the creation behind it, along with Women's History Month, as we are still in the month of March. So to get started, would you all like to introduce yourselves and tell us your backgrounds regarding the film?
Yeah, well, I'm the producer and executive producer, so I had a vision that we really needed a film about a story that's never been told, and that is that women only get 2% of venture capital, and then the other purpose of the film was to let people know, well, what is venture capital? So in a really easy, digestible way and in a storytelling way, it tells people what venture capital is through these amazing stories like the ones of Vicky and Charisse, who are from Dapper Boy.
We're just so excited to be a part of the film. We had no idea actually how our part would come together, and we're just so grateful to be a part of it. So we're co-founders and wives. Yeah. And moms, and we have a company called Dapper Boy. And so Dapper Boy is an all-gender and size-inclusive apparel line. And our whole mission is to inspire folks to, find their confidence in their authenticity through clothing. We have clothes from all sizes and body types and genders.
I love that. I love that you are so inclusive with it as well. And I'm going to ask you some more questions regarding the business later on in the interview. But to kind of talk about the film just in general, and then we'll dive into more of the company itself of Dapper Boy. But with the film, what was the inspiration behind it? It's an uplifting film surrounding women entrepreneurs like yourselves. So tell us a little bit more about the film itself and what you can tease for the audience.
Well, just finding out that we were only getting 2% of venture capital, that really ticked me off. I was like, that's crazy. Does that mean men get 98%? Yes, it does. And I was like, this is an injustice, and this cannot continue. It's been like this for decades. So the only way to change it, we felt, was to create a movie that explains what venture capital is and why we're only getting 2%, and how you, as a moviegoer, as a viewer of the film, can participate in the solution. So we can change this, ladies. This is doable. And that's why we're taking it on a 50-city tour around the country for people to get to see the film. And it's been getting awards at every festival that we've been at, winning Best Feature Documentary. So it's been really well received. People seem really excited about it. And we're super excited to screen it in New Jersey. And so that's one of our 50 stops is New Jersey.
Well, congratulations. Yeah.
So, what I really love about it is it shows the complexities that founders face. Like, think about it. Women are so used to multitasking. We're solutions providers. We're critical thinkers. We're able to raise families, manage our household funds, think outside of the box. And you really get to see that with four founders and their companies. Like Vicky was saying, when these cameras were following us, our kids are featured in the documentary, and we shared so many vulnerable moments, but I think it really shows how much we were really willing to put on the line. And it's astounding that women only get 2% when at the end of the day, in Beyonce's famous words, we run the world. We can do anything. And working with my wife alongside this, it was really scary to put our journey out there. But I think above all, the storytelling, hopefully it's inspiring to so many, because we're so proud of our business and we want to show others that it is possible to start a brand.
Yeah, it really shows a lot of behind the scenes, and it's awesome because we got to really understand from the investor standpoint. So along with the founders, there's also the investor journey too. And that's just so cool to see from our perspective, because a lot of times, as founders, as we're looking for investors, and especially first-time fundraising, can be a scary world. So it's really cool to bring these worlds together. And there's just a newfound confidence, I think, in us as founders as we're fundraising as well. It's really amazing.
It was kind of great to see Vicky and Charisse realize, have that epiphany that these people that are starting their own funds, these women, they're out there raising money just like the founders are.
Right.
And that these investors, they're just people like you and me, they're wanting to invest, make money, but also do better for the world. And so it was really great in the film to have the women that are starting the funds that I say are the real unsung heroes that nobody knows about, who are out there raising $25, $50, $100 million to invest in women and BIPOC and LGBTQ, all the underserved communities, about the women investing in those funds and their incredible stories. And then the third sector, of course, is the founders like Vicky and Charisse that are out there raising the funding and having these great innovations that are helping to change the world, and how those three sectors all intersect is what the film is about, and makes it super exciting and great stories to follow. And we've just really been getting some great feedback because it is a story that's never been told.
I love that it's a story that's never been told, and that it's the fact that you're going to be shedding light on this, especially woman empowerment. That's what we need, especially in our world today. And we're growing so much with it, and there's so much more we can do. And I think this is one of the steps that we can definitely take for that. And as we are still in the month of Women's History, how do you believe this film represents woman empowerment? You talked a little bit about it before, but dive into it deeper, into a little bit more.
Yeah, I can speak on it. We have 2 daughters. They're 6 now. And
young 6-year-olds.
I mean, we're really excited to be able to also include them in our journey, because this is why we do what we do. I think women empowerment is not just working alongside my wife every single day, but it's also showing our children what is possible. And sometimes the hard decisions are the ones that are going to be so impactful in your life. Again, it's like not just for our children, it's for future generations. We're hoping that this film, years to come, that 2% is going to be a statistic of the past. And we're so excited to be part of that growth.
Yeah, to show our kids like how badass their moms are and that they can do it too someday.
And to dive more into the business of Dapper Boy, can you describe more of what the company does? And
yeah, so the best way to describe this is like, imagine you're walking into a department store and you have 2 choices, the men's section and the women's section. And we don't even think about it because it's just been embedded in our brains for years and years, but really we believe in breaking that whole binary experience, not about being the men's section, the women's section. We believe it should be based on style preference and body type. We're really trying to push mainstream doors here and really be the next Levi's of all gender fashion. Like, it's going to happen. And this is just exciting times. And to be able, Catherine, allowing us to share our story, yes, vulnerable, but very impactful here as we're changing the future.
What are some challenges that you see that are faced by some women?
One of the biggest is, men in the movie, we talk about men tend to ask different questions to women entrepreneurs than to men. It's really, so it's a broken system. And we're going to fix it. That's what we're going to do. That's what women do. We fix things. And so by alerting women all over the country that they're getting the short end of the stick in venture capital, which is one of the biggest ways that any companies are funded, 1/3 of the stock market is funded by venture capital. So this is a huge, huge money market that we've been shut out of. About $350 billion a year, and we're getting 2%. Not only is it not right, but it's hurting the planet, because then you're leaving all those great ideas and innovations of women on the side. And so here's just one of them here, Dapper Boy, one of the great innovations that's game-changing, making it possible for there to be genderless clothing. And the cool thing about the young people is I think they're probably more evolved than the rest of the population, because they're the ones that 50% of them are calling themselves them only because they don't want to be put in a pocket of he or she. They like this gender-neutral thought, and they're going to think it's the same way for their clothing. And so that's why it's so genius what they're doing. It makes perfect sense. The younger generation are going to take it and run with it. It's why they've been so successful and will continue to be. It really speaks to that audience. In fact, Vicky, why don't you tell that story about when we were in Nashville and the man that came up with his daughter, about how your story impacted them?
Yeah, and I think it's just interesting because, when I went to Nashville, being, us from San Diego, I was a little bit nervous. I'm a woman with a fade, short haircut. And sometimes I get nervous even going to the restroom for getting called out as a man. So going to Nashville was just so interesting and inspiring. After one of the screenings, a gentleman came up with his child, and the child was very nervous. And he came up and said, "I want to thank you for just existing. This is my child and they are non-binary." And the child was so nervous to even speak to me, when showing me the problems and their fit and everything. And you could just see, and I literally started crying actually, because this is like impact right here. We have people telling us all the time how much we've changed their lives, their confidence, their self-worth, a job they never thought they could get. Now because they have this newfound confidence, they're able to like belong,
Yeah. It's exciting. It's like we're so excited to be part of the change. And so many people, the clothes that they wear, that's their armor. That's what represents them on the inside to reflect on how they feel on the outside. And so we hope that in a few years that this is normalized, that it's that Dapper Boy is, we always say that we're going to be the next Levi's of all gender clothing. Yeah. We want to revolutionize this change. And so hopefully when our children have their own children, it's like, wow, what? That was a question? Like,
right.
Yeah.
And all that it takes, that goes behind it. And that's, I think you were asking for teasers earlier. Ours is definitely a journey. And so it's this ride of entrepreneurship that we wouldn't have any other way. I will say that, but it is a ride, and it is not always this. It is like circles and, the downs and the ups and all the things. And it was captured on camera, a lot of this, but incredible.
I think from the audience perspective too, I've had a few friends check out the screening, and when you talk about female empowerment, like how exciting it is to walk out of the film and know, like, hearing the word venture capital is scary. Like, what does that mean? But I think a lot of people think that they need to work until retirement. That's the only way that they're going to have freedom. But truly understanding investment, venture capital, how it works, you can really take shape of your future, your legacy, your financial freedom. It just opens up so much access. Like, I mean, literally, as soon as we walk out of every single screening we've been in, you see the excitement, the light bulbs, and this is conversations that we haven't had. This is stuff they don't teach in school. And we're so excited to be like part of this documentary. It really is so impactful.
And, speaking of what you just said, also, I wanted the film to definitely let people know that there was a lower barrier to entry than they actually thought. I think people thought they had to have $1 million to be in venture capital. Just not true. As little as maybe $25,000. And then there's other types of investment, private equity, that could be even less than that. And I think that's something that people get excited about too, understanding that the barrier to entry is not as big as they thought it was. And that makes them very excited. And then speaking of younger people, I wish I'd known this stuff in my 20s. So a lot of universities are asking us to screen the film, and we're screening all over. And they've also been asking us to put together a curriculum to go with it. They actually want to teach it their schools, and we're super excited to be a part of that change as well.
I think that will be a great journey for you all, and as well as the people under the school curriculum, and just for anybody out there. Like your story, I think it's really beautiful that you were able to, inspire so many people just going to the bathroom. And I think it's really just so beautiful and heartwarming to see. But to wrap up a little, if listeners are interested in learning more about the film or interested in watching it, where can they find more information?
Well, our website is packed full of information, including our 2024 schedule, what cities we'll be in, if you want to screen it, and a resources page to give you information about how you can participate, and also, books, podcasts, workshops, all of the tools that you need to get involved. So that is showherthemoneymovie.com. It's simple. That's where you go. Showherthemoneymovie.com.
Well, thank you all for coming on The Morning Buzz today. And for those listening, this screening will be a part of the American Dreamers Festival at the Claridge Cinema this upcoming Monday, March 25th. So if you are interested, you can see the screening and everything that it has to offer. But thank you all for joining us.